Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk with me, Sifiso Mahlangu. Ad hoc committee, SABC, 90% local content. We have heard them all. Tonight I bring you Mr. Hlaudi Motsoeneng himself here on Straight Talk. Dismantling the myths and getting his credibility back. Many is what they claim. But this champion of the revolution of music in this country will speak candidly to me tonight as we go into a deeper level of Straight Talk with the ex-COO of the SABC, Mr. Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Mr. Motsoeneng, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much and your audience.
Thank you for coming. I had the friends of Hlaudi last week here. A very affluent crowd and support you have in this country.
I think it is very important for all South Africans to support radical transformation, to support empowerment of black people in South Africa. If we talk about local content, what it means to South Africans, it means that we are going to create more jobs, especially when we talk about the artists themselves. Some of them, they are back in their own studios, recording their music. What is more important is they should produce quality music. But when we talk about local content, we are not just focusing on the artists themselves. We are saying all South Africans, they should be proud about themselves. You know, for me, I have been going around the world. When you go around the world, you realize that people, they love themselves, they love their country, they love their culture and tradition. This is what we need to do in South Africa, to love ourselves first, because I have been asking myself, why do we play music from outside this country? Actually, when the bulk of the money we were paying artists from this outside the country, when our own artists, we could not even pay them well. This is the opportunity for South Africans to be empowered, to get money in their pockets rather than money going outside the country.
And that's why you were termed the transformation agent or the champion of 90%. But Mr. Motsoeneng, give me the straight talk on this. Why were you removed as the COO of the SABC?
No, remember, the DA went to court and talked about the process that the SABC did not follow, the proper process. I mean, I don't want to dwell a lot on those matters because I respect the court.
So you're still employed by the SABC?
I'm still an employee of the organization.
So tell me this, what happens to the 90% of local content? You held a press conference this week, a very steamy and loaded press conference, I might add. An hour after you stepped off the stage, the DA called for your head, for you to be removed from the SABC entirely. Is this a battle against 90%, or is this a battle against you as an individual?
We can't run away from the fact that the DA represents the liberals. We can't run away from that point of view. They just have face. When you look at my money, Musi Maimani is just the face there. These people are using him, because I'm always surprised that a black person, I mean, when you have many white people who don't see media running after white people, but we see media and the DA running after black people. And people who are doing very well, people who are transforming South Africa. If you can check, people are not just attacking Hlaudi. They are taking all those people who have been doing very well, like Brian Molefe, like Moyane, the SARS commissioner, and many people. They have been attacking them. People that I think they are radical, they know what they do, they know what South Africans want.
I've always been mindful of the attack on black leaders in this country. Tutumieni, Brian Molefe, and now even yourself are under the scepter and the scrutiny of opposition parties. But isn't it true, Mr. Motsoeneng, that the envelopment of your axing from the SABC was contributed by the fact that you did not have the necessary qualifications to be the COO of the state broadcaster?
Maybe we need to define qualifications, because by the law in South Africa, labor laws, you know that, I mean, there is recognition for prior learning. So that is law in South Africa. I mean, I have experience, and even if you check all the advancements that the SABC and other SOEs or government, I mean, government recognize prior learning. So, and I have experience. But for me, it's not about the paper. It's about whether you are able to deliver, whether you are able to have vision, to have plan, to change the lives of people. That is very important, because you can have all the certificates, but if here you are not sharp, there is no use for South Africans. We need people who are able to change the world, the people who are able to change the lives of South Africans. That is more important for me. The question is, I have been delivering and I will always deliver. That for me is very important. And I don't want to say that people, they don't need education. Education is key, but you need to know that that education, we must see value in it. If we can't see value in it.
And speaking of deliverables, you quoted in your press statement, in your press briefing, that when you left the SABC had money, and the SABC doesn't have money right now. What happened to that money?
Look, I'm not there, so I can't talk on behalf of the SABC. But when I left the SABC, money was there. But one of the reasons that I hear from people or rumors is because of 90%. And I disagree. Why, if you have international artists, SABC playing their music, you have more money? When you have your own people, South Africans, you don't have more money.
Less money.
That is shocking, actually. If people, they don't invest in their own people, they are happy to invest outside the country and empower artists from outside. I normally make one of the best example. I mean, it's like a father. You have children, you become a blesser outside your family. It's the same thing. South Africa can't become a blesser outside South Africa and empower people outside when their own people are suffering, when their own artists are dying poorly. We can't allow such a situation in South Africa.
Mr. Motsoeneng, the ad hoc committee set to discover the fitness of the board to hold office. You complained and said you were not invited. In fact, if you had been invited, you would have given the ad hoc committee something to think about. Why did they not invite you to the ad hoc committee, but you became an agenda item within the talks of the ad hoc committee?
Very interesting, because from day one, everyone, all of them, they were talking about Hlaudi, including Krishna Naidu and others and others. And remember, SABC, their process, their governance process, you have the board accounting authority, you also have ESCO, accounting authority for the operations of the SABC. So all the decisions that we have been taking at the SABC, all these people, they were part of those decisions. But it is a fact that in those meetings, I have been championing change in South Africa, and they could not win the debate in those meetings. There is nothing wrong, because why do you have many people, why do you have management, is so that people can influence each other. So they could not debate with me, and they had to support me, because really there were no reasons that they can say, no, we can't put local content, because I give them the reasons why we need to put local content. But you can see there are many opportunists within that organization, especially people who are disgruntled, people who are not supporting transformation in that organization, who went and lied during the ad hoc committee.
Who lied during the ad hoc committee?
Most of them.
But they were speaking under oath. They were speaking under oath.
The reason why I'm saying I don't see the reason why Krishna Naidu is there, because there is evidence that Krishna Naidu lie under oath. The ad hoc committee, they have that evidence from the former company secretary to say, look, example, when we talk about the review of the public protector, Krishna Naidu approved the review of the public protector to say, let us review the public protector report. But now he goes to Parliament and said, no, we didn't. But his signature is there. So
and
how
Mr.
do you take
Motsoeneng,
someone like that one?
The ad hoc committee set to find out if the board was fit to hold office. Men such as Professor Maguve were found to be unfit to sit on the board. In the new SABC board, Krishnaidu comes back. Is Krishnaidu the only credible person, or what does that say?
I think all South Africans, they are asking the same questions. If it was a fair process, why do you bring Krishnaidu back? Because if you are saying the board is not fit, which means all of them, they are not fit. You can't bring them in that board, interim board, all of them. The same ad hoc committee said they are going to investigate people who lied under oath. Where is that investigation? How far is the investigation when you have someone who's already occupying a position in the SABC after lying to ad hoc committee?
The Friends of Hlaudi movement suggests that the ad hoc committee was a vindictive act by Chief Whip of the ANC in Parliament, Mr. Jackson Mthembu, to attack you. Do you have bad blood, animosity, or political hostility towards Mr. Jackson Mthembu?
No, you know, we are living in a democratic country. So, to be honest, I don't care about other people. I care about myself and my family. So what people say about me is their business. It's not my business. So I don't focus on what people are saying. I focus on the work that I need to do, which I always focus. The reason why I'm always focused is because I don't listen to all this halabaloo. I don't listen to people who are controlled by the West. So I listen to my conscience, and I do what I know that South Africans need these issues to be done in South Africa.
Do you think that the ad hoc committee was a way for Mr. Mthembu or any other person to deal with you rather than the SABC board?
Reality is, all of them, for the first time in their history in Parliament, they collude, all of them, under the name of Hlaudi. It is a fact, because you can't allow a situation where people are making allegations about one person and you don't call that person. Remember, they were saying I'm not employed by the SABC, but they call people who are not employed by the SABC. What is logic there? You can see the agenda that they were pushing. But I'm happy about the one person from the UDM, because he raised a serious issue to say, but everybody has been talking about this man. Let us call him. They refuse. And why they refuse is because they didn't want the truth. They have already concluded what they want. If you check the report itself, you can't come to a conclusion. Even if Hlaudi has killed someone, you go to court, you are given an opportunity to say, yes, I killed this person, or I didn't kill the person. You give the reason. That is fairness. That is what we need to do in South Africa. But here, there was an agenda, political agenda, to get rid of Hlaudi. Those
and
issues,
Hlaudi is still here.
Hlaudi is still here. But you know, what is more important is, I mean, I have been discussing with Zola Majavu and senior counsel about all these matters. We are going to deal with these issues at the right time.
Mr. Motsoeneng, an SABC journalist, a then SABC journalist, Mr. Vuyomvoko, sat in the sittings of the ad hoc committee and said that SABC funds were used to fund the building or development of the New Age or ANN7 via their business breakfasts. I want your comment on that.
You know, I don't know what Vuyomvoko knows. And remember, Vuyomvoko was working for the same company that you are referring to. Vuyomvoko was working for the Guptas himself. So I don't know what happened between him and the Guptas. But reality is, SABC is not funding the Gupta's channels. We are not funding the Gupta's channels. But I have been saying to people, you know, it is very important to realize that people who are saying the Guptas should go, what is going to happen about people who are working here? Not on media platforms. There are many companies that the Gupta's owns.
8,000 people for that matter.
What is going to happen about these people? And we are not saying people should do wrong stuff. You should deal with the issues, but don't get rid of people who are investing in South Africa. So that is very important for me. The same issue about the contract between SABC and MultiChoice. I have been saying the money that we are getting from MultiChoice, it pays the operations of the SABC, the whole newsroom, not for 04 channels, the whole newsrooms. It also pays salaries for those workers who are working there at the SABC, some of them. If you cancel that contract, which means people are going to be unemployed. But that contract is also renewable, because that is how I negotiated that contract, which the board has approved, that contract. So people should look at the consequence of making sure that they make more unemployment in South Africa. We can fight with people, but we need to check the consequence for those people who are working in those different companies.
Many people called to Mvoko to produce the evidence that the TNA was funded or had received funds from the business breakfast or from SABC, but that proof never came. So is there a light or a collusion, or should I say a get-together of forces to bring down TNA ANN7? Because ANN7 is the new kid on the block, and it's a rival to these news stations. It's a rival to what we consider white monopoly capital, and it's also a rival to the SABC News itself. Is this a collusion or a get-together of the big boys club to crush the new kid on the block?
No, my view is, SABC were not competing with anyone. When I was there, that was my message, because we are a public broadcaster. We have a different mandate compared to commercial broadcasters. But I'm also aware that in South Africa, when it comes to media, these media houses, they are controlled by some people, not even within South Africa. They don't have interest in South Africa. The reason why they will attack black government is because they still believe that black people can't rule. It's a pity that you have so-called clever blacks who are also joining to criticize especially some of the leaders in this country. President Zuma is one of them. President Zuma is under attack. And why he's under attack is because he's talking about radical transformation. So when you touch those issues, you touch the real nerves of some of people who don't want that change to happen. But for me, I have been saying the problem is not white people in South Africa. It's not white people. They are powerless. We are in charge as black people. We must implement what we need to implement in South Africa and change the lives of people in South Africa and work together with white people. We are not saying chase away the white people. They are part of us. We are part of them. But they should understand that there must be equity amongst all of us. But my question is, when these people are going to come and use South Africa as a benchmark? Because if they can't come, which means we are just people. We can't think, we don't have plans, we don't have innovation. We should create a nation that is able to do business for themselves, to do and create jobs for themselves. So this benchmarking with other countries, I have a problem, because those countries, they don't come and use South Africa as a benchmark, because we always want people to think for us. We need to think for ourselves.
Mr. Motsoeneng, you seem to have a lot of support in South Africa, particularly from musicians. And I quote one musician just yesterday who said, now musicians in this country have bread because of Mr. Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Many of you many of them are campaigning for you to be the Minister of Arts and Culture. But in your press briefing, you said you will not go against a female leader. But if you were to campaign for president, you would receive a lot of support.
No, look, people have been saying Hlaudi should be the president. It's a fact. Some of people, not all people, everywhere where I go, some of them, they have been saying that, no, we need Hlaudi as the minister. But I said, for me, if we are saying we want to support a woman as a president, even the ANC themselves, they are saying they want to empower women. The question is why men want to contest women. If you mean business, allow women to contest amongst themselves. That is what I'm saying. For me, I'm going to be very happy if we have a woman president in South Africa.
Who is that woman president?
No, I can't mention the name of the person, but I believe that women can contest among themselves and the best woman will emerge.
Well, Mr. Motsoeneng, with regard to 90% South African content, many artists receive money from various projects also funded. Mr. Blondi McKenna said, as a legend of South African music, for the first time, he got 50,000, which was a much needed sum of money in his life. But it's also true that South African artists also misuse funds and are entangled in substance abuse.
You know, the challenge there, I mean, you also have middlemen. My belief is artists themselves, they should run their own business. Because you pay middlemen pays them, middleman decides how much they are going to pay the artist. For me, I think they should run their own business as artists because they are business people. But also from where I'm sitting, I think it is very important. You know, fame sometimes causes havoc because people want to drive nice cars and do all sort of things, but forgetting the basics, that you need a house first. You need to make sure that you sustain your family. As you are aware that for the first time at the SABC, we increased the salary increment for actors. And they are workers now. They are not just acting for the sake of entertaining people, because when I came in, I said, you are workers, you should get living wage. So that is what is happening. And when we talk about local content, people focus on the musicians. It's not about the musicians. It's about the whole environment. Example, I said at the SABC when the cleaners and the security people were toying about their salaries and so on, complaining about the security company. I said to them, but why you want to work for other people yourselves? When you have experience, why can't you form corporate so that SABC can absorb you and pay you as workers, but you know this is our company, we have shares here. That is real empowerment, because I was looking to empower the cleaners so that they own their own company, security company, security workers, so that they own their own security company. That is empowerment. And I said the cake should be shared across the provinces, not just these big companies. Example, you know, at the SABC we're having what we called evergreen contract. An evergreen contract is big companies, they do business with SABC. You only have starting date, you don't have ending date. So I said this is wrong, because when you do that, you will close gaps for those people who are emerging, especially black people. They can't play in that space. If you are aware that all the tools, broadcasting tools, we don't have factories that are producing broadcasting tools in South Africa. All these broadcasting tools, we get them from outside. So I said all these big companies, if they come in South Africa and they do business with us, they should make sure that they are factories. They transfer skills and expertise to our own black people. When they leave, our own black people can produce such tools in South Africa rather than us relying people from outside. And the danger there is when the currency is not good, it affects all of us.
But Mr. Motsoeneng, you know, the SABC has never had money. It's performed better perhaps than it's performing now, but it's never had a graceful financial tenor, even within the administration of people such as Lulama Makodo, Dalimpofu, Peter Matlare. So why do we want to pay emphasis on the financial disparities of the SABC right now, and that's not something we have done before?
No, look, when I came and I was appointed by the former chairperson and that board, Dr. Ngubane, SABC was bleeding financially. So we had to put a strategy together with the board, including management of the SABC. And I think we did very well. But also, SABC is not an entity that relies on profit, because we are not a profit company. We are a company that has a different mandate to serve South Africans. So you can't say you need profit in the bank. What you need in the bank, you need 600 million to sustain the operation and pay all these service providers. That is what we need. But other people, they want to have money in the bank. But when you have money in the bank, you don't use money in the bank, which means the production houses are suffering. The reason why SABC, they were having all these repeats. Some of them, they were just happy to have 1.4 billion in the bank. And I asked them, but you have 1 billion in the bank, but you are not empowering black people. And if you look the production house, you have few production house, and this production house are owned by white people, most of them.
Before we run out of time, Mr. Motsoeneng, are you going to contest the court's decision to remove you as COO of the SABC?
No, I'm not contesting.
You've never been one to mince your words, I remember often. So are you going to fight to keep Hlaudi in Hlaudi's place? Or are you going to walk away gracefully?
No. Look, when it comes to that issue, the court, there is a ruling which I respect. They said that I was supposed to be cleared first before I can be appointed as the permanent COO of the SABC. I don't have an issue about the ruling of the court. What I want is to clear my name in a disciplinary hearing. For me, that is the focus that I want, that disciplinary hearing as a matter of urgency. Even my lawyers, they have been saying, Hlaudi, we need to make sure that we have that disciplinary hearing. It is very critical for all of us. So I want that disciplinary hearing. And I will decide the future after the disciplinary hearing. But there are many options for me. As you are aware that South Africans, they are very crazy when it comes to Hlaudi. So I know that really I'm in demand. I don't have a problem, but I have been saying to people I'm going to enjoy myself in that disciplinary hearing, because I enjoy everything that I do. Whether it is dismissal, I will enjoy it, because you know, my future is in my hands. I don't depend on other people.
We're sadly out of time, Mr. Motsoeneng, but right after that disciplinary hearing, I need you on this hot seat for Straight Talk once more time.
Thank you very much.
We're sadly out of time, but I want to continue this conversation with you. Yeah, thank you for coming.
I think what is more important is to transform South Africa by hook.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, you've heard it for yourself, South Africa. The champion of 90%, Mr. Radical himself, has spoken here only on Straight Talk. Thank you for watching tonight. I am Sifiso Mahlangu. Pray for South Africa. See you next time, and good night.